He would never guess that Fanny's next encounter is like an online blockbuster. Marty placed the drink on the armrest. Upon seeing Fanny, Uncle rushed forward like a rocket, while Bobby behind him fell straight asleep. 3 gamers got spooked, hit the blocks, sparking a carnival of mishaps. Uncle stepped on glass and danced back in fright. He was severely injured by an unexpectedly started lawnmower, his face torn. The family grieved again. Fanny saw a mystery, others an accident. Fanny compiled her notes, gave a death pursuit lecture, confirming death kills in order, starting with her uncle. Then comes Fanny's family. Marty and Aunt won't be listed without Alice's blood, so Eric, Uncle's eldest son, is most at risk. However, everyone thought Fanny was going crazy and left. Eric was on his way to work. Suddenly, the fan bumped into a chain, which precisely locked onto Eric's nose ring. Alcohol spilled all around, the fan spun fast, winding in the chain. Eric mumbled help, and tipped her tire. Accidentally bumped the nearby lamp. Its fall seemed to rouse the sleeping giant, putting Eric in greater peril as the table glass shattered. He tried desperately to flee, yet worsened. At the critical moment, Eric finally freed his nose from the chain, but upon falling, he touched alcohol, sparking an instant volcanic eruption. Fanny was deeply worried about Eric's safety. Upon finding he hadn't called back all night, she called her brother to search, nearly causing an accident. As it turned out, Eric was fine. He just took off his flaming leather jacket to escape. This made Fanny even more convinced that death really was. Fanny decided to stick by Eric's side like glue to protect him, starting to check for all possible chain reactions, like with that sickle hanging from the tree. Suddenly, they bumped into Julia, who was heading out for a run, with a garbage truck rolling by at just the right moment. Fanny hurriedly told Eric to keep his distance, but Eric just had to get closer to the garbage truck, making goofy taunting gestures. Julia ignored her boring brother-in-law, ran with headphones on, and was sucked into a garbage truck. Calorie-counting sister immediately chased after the garbage truck, but the driver was obliviously jamming to her music and couldn't hear anyone call. Fanny scrambled onto the garbage truck to save Julia, but as she grabbed her hand, Julia was sucked into the compactor. Subtitles. At this very moment, and suddenly revealed the shocking truth. It turned out that Eric was not Uncle's biological son at all, but rather the offspring of her affair. So he might have dodged a bullet, and now the target switched to the younger son, Bobby. Fanny mentioned a guy named George in her notes, and Linda just happened to know him, so they rushed to the hospital to hunt him down. It turned out George was the singer's son, surviving the patio restaurant disaster as a child. George revealed that there are 2 ways to deal with death: either take a life or come back from the dead. He stated he was the last person to die in Alice's premonition. It sounded terrifying, but the reality was even scarier. He warned everyone not to meddle with death's plans too much. Otherwise, failure could worsen things. He advises everyone to enjoy the remaining days now. Then he departed on clouds. Eric wondered, if Bobby could be saved, why couldn't he return from death? Yet he was still killed. He thought dying and reviving would be simplest, so advised Bobby to eat peanuts, using his allergy to near kill him before doctors revived him. They took a peanut pack from the cabinet, but it got stuck. Eric, furious, smashed the glass to get it. The 2 of them collaborated to lift up the entire snack cabinet, and ultimately retrieved the peanuts with great joy, as if they had won a grand prize. Then they walked into the neighboring room and accidentally activated the MRI machine, causing a massive olfactory incident. Eric's head was spin. The wheelchair behind him was pulled back by strong suction, forcing Eric into the MRI machine. Subtitles. Bobby, munching on peanuts, was useless. He tried to take the antidote from Eric, but the doctor outside, sensing trouble, opened the door hastily, triggering death strap. Suddenly, a spring in the vending machine shot out like a deadly arrow, piercing Bobby's head. Fanny, Linda, and Charlie huddled, helpless against death. They thought, why not take a gamble like Alice? So they drove to a mountain cabin, unaware a coin from the notes had fallen. The mountain cabin fell seriously like death had sent them an early invitation. Fanny slammed the gas pedal and sped right in. On the way, she crashed, trapped by the seatbelt and unable to flee. Death's target now seems Linda. Her safety ensures others. But they had no clue that sparks from the leaking roof were about to cause trouble. Just as Linda entered the cabin, disaster. Subtitles. A powerful explosive shockwave flipped the car over, and Fanny's body sank into the adjacent water and rocks like a stone. Charlie was trapped under wood. Injured Linda struggled up. As he tried to save her, a lamppost hit Linda away, but she was already unconscious. Fortunately, Charlie successfully managed to revive Fanny, and the three of them tightly embraced each other, laughing uncontrollably. Isn't this what George hinted about coming back from the dead? But when Fanny heard the news about Linda, she couldn't help but cry. Only two remained in Alice's bloodline. A week later, Charlie got ready for the prom, and Fanny went with him to Jenna's. While arranging flowers for her brother, she felt an ominous foreboding. Jenna's father, a doctor, told the siblings. Fanny just lost consciousness while drowning, not truly dead. At that moment, the grandma who didn't pick up the coin bought lemonade. Subsequently, the scene depicted at the start unfolded. A train carrying lumber derailed in the vicinity, causing the logs to tumble down and directly sweep Fanny and Charlie away with them. And that's the end of the story. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.